Tim, a not easy one to start off with for you. You told MLS that you had called a bunch of guys recently to sort of check in to see your words were if their heads were on right before the camp. Is there a desire from the group, from the leaders of the group, to consciously avoid any awkwardness and ensure that Gio is welcomed back as an equal part of the group? And if so, what's kind of being done by you guys, by the leaders, either before or since you got to Florida, to maybe sort of allay any worries that Gio might have had about how he might be received, especially on the heels of the report that came out? And how have you seen him? How have you seen him handle himself so far?
I think the biggest thing is making sure that everybody knows we're here for a reason, and what's happened with Gio in the past is in the past, and what happened at the World Cup happened at the World Cup, and we moved on from that as players. I think the biggest thing for us as a leadership and all the guys in camp is to see that he's working hard, training hard, that he's wanting to be here, and up to this point, it's been nothing but positive. Having conversations with different guys, it's everybody's knows what he can bring to the table. Everybody knows how talented he is, and to see him come in here with that attitude and the work rate and the desire to be a part of the group and just get back on level terms with everyone without having to overly address it, has been a big positive for all the guys to see.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, just to follow up on that, Tim, have you had conversations with Gio just to try to kind of see where his head is at and how he's been able to kind of work his way back into the group over the first couple of days of training? And I know you've got potentially another week together as a team as well. Thank you.
Yes, I have. I've had individual conversations with him. Those will stay between him and I, because I think that's important to have that kind of line of communication and trust between players, between teammates, between between groups. And so like I said, I've had conversations with him, but those conversations and what he's feeling, what he's seeing, what his worries may be will stay between him and I, because I think that's important to allow him to move past everything that's happened, and I think it's important for all of us to be able to move past that and work together as a good team.
We'll go to Henry Bushnell from Yahoo.
Thanks, Michael. And hey, guys, I'll go to Miles. Welcome back to US Camp. I guess kind of a two-part question. One, I'm wondering if you're willing to share, it might be tough, but where did you watch the World Cup, and what was that, what sort of emotions did that stir in you? What was that experience like for you? And then second of all, just what's it like to be back with the guys?
Thanks, first of all. But I watched most of the World Cup from my couch with my family. It was tough at some moments, but obviously, I'm cheering on these guys. We worked hard together qualifying, and I was happy to see them, succeed in the World Cup. So it was great for me to watch them.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael. For either of you guys, I suppose. How big are these games this month, and how important is it to sort of have the band back together for the first time in a while?
I think they're very important. Obviously, it's the first official FIFA window after a World Cup, after coming away from there and doing what we did, and it's the next step in defending our Nations League title, the inaugural one we achieved and accomplished in 2021. So it's important because it sets us up for the rest of the year. It sets us up to go into the summer, and into the Gold Cup, into potentially a semifinal and another final, and so they're vitally important, and it's 2 games that we're obviously looking to get 2 wins from, and start us off this cycle on the right foot.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hi, Tim. As you look at the coaching situation, would you like to see U.S. Soccer keep Greg? What are his positive and negative attributes? And if they look for someone else, what would you like to see in the next coach?
Yeah, I just think for us players, I think bringing him back is a familiarity. It's the togetherness that he brought to the team after it was very, very much kind of sporadic and fractured when he first came in, and it was a big transition with a lot of new guys coming into the program. I think he did a fantastic job in that aspect, and he put and laid very, very good foundations for the team. Whether he comes back or not is, for us as players, I've said this previously, it's not something that we really worry about or are concerned about, because it's not our job to hire that for that position. So listen, if they bring him back, obviously we'll continue to work on him. If they don't, we'll continue to work under somebody else, and that's the nature of what we do as players. That's the nature of the sport. There's sometimes there's continuity and sometimes there's change, and we'll roll with whatever happens.
Thank you.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael. This one's for Tim, and I wanted to ask about Christian, just because in the last week with the interview he gave, he kind of gave a look at a side of him that us in the media and the public don't often get to see. Where he's a little bit less reserved, a little bit more out there with his opinions, a little bit more passionate, and obviously he's a leader with this group, and there's a side of him that you guys get to see when he's in that group and kind of takes care of things. But what do you think about Christian coming out and saying some of the things he did, and is that more in line with what you guys get to see in terms of the way he leads this group and the way he speaks to this group?
Listen, I think everybody is entitled to their opinion, so I don't see any issue with him doing what he did. I think it's not a bad thing. I don't think it hurt the group in any type of way. But that is the side of Christian that we are kind of used to seeing when we come into camps. He is passionate. He does have opinions. He does have things that he's very happy to speak about, and that's a setting. And I've had that conversation with him as well. That's a setting where he feels comfortable that he can share how he feels, and so I think there's nothing wrong with everybody sharing their opinions at the right moment on a lot of things. So to see it was not a surprise. Like you said, it was probably a surprise for all of you more than anything. But that's the same Christian that we know and see every time we're in camp together.
Next will be Doug Roberson from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
2 questions. One for Miles. During your rehab process, was getting back to the U.S. national team like your number one goal? And for Tim, I know it's only one training session, but what have you seen from Miles, and what do you expect to see from him during camp this week?
It was definitely a goal to get back out here, play with these guys, compete with these guys, and represent the country. That's definitely something that I look forward to in my rehab, hoping to, come back and, represent the country. It feels good, and I'm excited to be back out here.
I mean, like you said, it's been one training session, but I've caught a few games. The perks of having Apple TV now, being able to watch, him play and others play, and he looks back to the Miles that we all know. Which is not always guaranteed after what he's gone through and the injury that he had, but to see him come out on the other side and to have him back in here with the group has been great, and to watch him today in training doing the things that he's always done is a good sign, because obviously up to the point of the injury he was flying, and he was a major part of the group and a major part of qualifying. So to have him back is only going to be a big positive for the team.
We'll go to Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
And thanks to both of you. This is following on from Doug's question. Miles, I wanted to ask if you could share a little bit of insight into what the recovery process was like for you, what the physical challenges were, what the mental challenges were, how you dealt with that adversity, and maybe how it compared to other challenges you faced in your career up to now.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely tough at some moments, more mentally than physically. I think the first, few months when you can't really walk is definitely tough. And then towards the end when I could, get out on the field, but, watching the World Cup was also, mentally pretty tough. But it just kind of, I use it for motivation at this point. I'm so grateful to be back out here with this team. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of calf raises involved in the rehab, that's for sure.
Next will be Jake Fenner from the Daily Mail.
Hi guys, hello Miles. Glad to see that we have our Syracuse representation back in the U.S. men's national team. Just a quick question. The injury obviously removed what I think a lot of fans believed was a starting role for you in that 2022 World Cup. How long do you think, and do you think you will be able to earn back that starting role at left center back?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point I'm just, happy to be back, competing with these guys and, proving myself. I don't really think too far in the future personally. I kind of just take it day by day and, focused on, tomorrow's session, trying to, play my best, show what I can do to, contribute to this team however, any coach will see me.
I think Miles is probably happy to see Syracuse representation in our media corps as well.
That's right.
Next will be Felipe Cardenas.
Thanks, Michael. Miles, hey, what's going on, man? I just wanted to ask you about, is the fact that you have a World Cup coming up in 2026, you're very capable of playing in that tournament. Did that ease any of the pain of missing 2022? And then who do you have to thank with having gone through this rehab and getting back to where you are today? You look leaner, faster. Who was part of that team to get you back here?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some pain I felt, but I think it was kind of, finite where maybe the first few weeks were tough, but after that I kind of understood, this is the facts, this is the circumstances, and I just have to get back out there, focus on, every single day, how it lays out, and not really worry too much about the future. That's kind of been my mindset throughout my whole career, but yeah, like you were saying, wait, what was the other question?
Who helped you?
Yeah, who helped me? Yeah, I mean, I got to thank my family. They're always there supporting me, mentally. Obviously, all the physios in Atlanta, some physios even here with the national team helped me out. Aaron Long, I was definitely texting him throughout the whole process, but just all those, people, loved ones that kind of kept my head grounded and, focused on my recovery.
We'll continue with Sean McCaffrey.
Thank you. One question for you, Tim, would be, in the past it's been said that there was some dissension between European-based players and United States-based players. Now where the sole rep from the league here is next to you, does there seem to be a lot more unity or anything calmer? You notice anything different, or is that just something of the past at this point?
No, I think it's probably a fair representation of what's happened in the past. Not necessarily with this group, but being from this is my fourth cycle now. So being in part of the program for 12 years and first coming into the program, my first 2 years in MLS, there definitely was that kind of feeling, of not quite the togetherness between the two, and that's where I go back to this previous cycle where the togetherness has just been incredible. It's been the closest that the guys have been, whether it be MLS, they're coming in from South America, Mexico, Europe. It's been a great team unity, and I think that's something that hasn't always been there, but now I think is is a mainstay, and I think that's up to the leadership group, and to continue that kind of culture and that feel of complete togetherness, whether they're wherever they're coming from, wherever guys are coming from, wherever they're playing at, because at the end of the day, we're all playing for the same thing. We're all pulling in the same direction, and that's the most important thing.